Android convenient? Is it efficient? Is it ability to evolve? Compare operating system that you are familiar with these 3 points: convenient, efficiency, and ability to evolve. Can you say that Android is convenient?
Yes.
Is it efficient? It allows your mobile resources to be used in efficient manner, that is storage or RAM. It has limited resources, of course, and ability to evolve. So these 3 goals should be in your mind when you are going to design any new operating system. So this is an abstract view of system components. You can find this diagram in William Stalling's book. So the first layer is hardware layer. Hardware, you can think of a motherboard or any hardware. When you open computer system, you can see hardware. But as a programmer, I didn't know what is there in hardware. So I should have an operating system which is familiar with this hardware and which can provide interface with the system program applications. And user is not directly communicating with operating system. User is communicating with application programs, application softwares, and these softwares or these application or system programs are communicating with OS, and OS is communicating with hardware. So we can have multiple users if the operating system is multitasking or multi-user operating system, and each user may be using different softwares like compiler, assembler, text editor, database, or web services, etc. So this user layer is the topmost layer, and hardware layer is the bottommost layer. So, and there is the layers between user and hardware, that is system or application program and operating system. So operating system is providing interface with user and hardware, as well as user and application program and hardware. These are the services provided by operating system. Program development. How operating system help programmer for development? It supports editors and debuggers are there, which helps a programmer to develop a program. Then operating system also supports program execution. Program is loaded into memory for execution, and that execution is carried out by operating system. Operating system allows user to access input-output devices. Input-output devices are again a part of hardware, say speaker, mic, camera, printer, scanner, etc. User cannot directly communicate with these hardware devices. User has to install either device drivers, or operating system should be capable of knowing what is that device and how to communicate with that device. That is, access to IO devices is provided by operating system. Controlled access to the files. So suppose some files are very confidential files, and I didn't want to share those files with all of the users. Only selected users or only development team should have the access of these files. So such controlled access is provided by operating system. Operating system can give different access like read access, read only, or write only, or execute only access to the files. So that is security or protection concern is there. And system access. System access is the only operating system can access the system. So these are the various services provided by OS. You can call it as a functions of operating system also. Some more services like error detection and response. If there is some error like in hardware or software, internal or external hardware errors, for example, memory error or stack overflow, or device failure, device is not responding, paper out error from a printer, or it is not recognizing which type of mic is. So such errors can be handled, detected, and responded by the operating system. Software errors like arithmetic overflow, as I told you, stack overflow, or access forbidden to the memory location. User is trying to access illegal memory location. So such type of errors are detected. It is not allowed user to access any forbidden memory, or to perform such operations like which result into arithmetic overflow. And operating system detects such errors and respond to these errors. respond or display these errors to the user, so user can come up with the solution. Operating system cannot grant request to the application. You can also, similar to file access, you can also give access to the particular application. So without permission, operating system won't allow you to execute or run such applications which are forbidden or which has given some control. Main application is accounting. It collects statistics. What statistics? How much memory is used, how much CPU time is used, and what is the status of memory. So that is, it collects statistics, then monitor performance, whether the system is in good state or bad state, or need to close some device applications. Sometimes your mobile also gets hanged. What you do? It is not many applications are open and you're not able to perform any application. What you do? Or your system gets hanged, your mouse won't work, or key is not working. What you do in that case? Have you ever experienced such things? The system is hanged in between, or mobile is not working, some applications are not opening properly.
You restart the device.
That is the simplest solution. You can restart the device. Otherwise, without restarting, can you come out of this solution system problem?
Ma'am, we can go to the task manager and exit the application from there.
Or from mobile, you can close the what are the applications which are currently open. And in case of laptop or desktop, you go to the task manager or control delete and close all the tasks till your machine starts working, or the last option is restart it. So why this happened? Because your memory is limited, RAM is limited. Every application, for execution of any application, that need to be loaded in RAM. Whenever your application is there, it is always loaded on your secondary memory or hard disk. And to execute that application, when you open that application, for example, here I open Chrome or I open Google Meet or Gmail. So for that application must be loaded into RAM. So RAM decides the speed of your system, how fast your machine or mobile will work. And if there are many applications parallelly executing in RAM, so there is a limited RAM, so it may result into dysfunctioning. So you have to close with the applications which are not currently required and make the RAM free, so that your applications, remaining applications, can work. So this is taken care by operating system in memory management. In memory management, we are going to discuss how system handles this internal memory, but the accounting job is done by by operating system. It collects the statistics, whether the system is going into the safe state or unsafe state. It checks or monitors the performance, then use to anticipate future enhancement, whether the system will be in safe state after additional applications are allowed to execute other applications, or it should stop executing other applications. And used for billing users. If you are using paid internet or something, operating system can also collect or checks how much net or how many, what is the, as per the rate, it can calculate the billing of internet also. Now we'll see what is operating system. Currently, we have seen that operating system is nothing but a black box. On the one side there is a user, another side there is a hardware. It acts as an interface between user and hardware. But we'll go inside that black box. What is operating system made up of? Operating system, note that it is a software. It is a system software. So there are different parts of operating system. One of the part is kernel. So as the name says, kernel, it is a portion of operating system that is in main memory. Main memory is RAM. So some part of operating system is in main memory. So that is a kernel. Kernel contains most frequently used functions of operating system. It is very important part. It is also called as nucleus or heart of operating system. And it is always in main memory, and it has frequently used functions. For that, I have to show you. This is the diagram. Hardware. Hardware is system hardware where what can be terminals, printers, disk, etc. Followed by operating system. Now you can see operating system is divided into kernel and shell. Kernel part is in main memory. It has frequently used functions. It is also called nucleus or heart of operating system. And shell part. So operating system has two parts, kernel and shell. Shell is communicating with user or application, utilities and application. So these two layers, now operating system we divided into two layers, shell and kernel. So first we have seen what is operating system. It is an interface between user, application or hardware. Now we are expanding this black box into two blocks, which is kernel. Kernel is close to hardware and this part is in main memory. And shell. Shell is communicating with user and applications. So operating system has two parts, shell and kernel. Are you able to see this blackboard?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am, can you show the diagram once again?
Kernel.
Which you drew on board. Just
Is it visible?
yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Done. I took a screenshot.
What I want to explain you that operating system initially we have seen as a black box. It is acting as an interface between user and hardware. We didn't know what is there inside that operating system. Then we are expanding it. Now we know that operating system is made up of, and there are two parts of operating system. One part is called kernel, which is called heart or nucleus of operating system, which is always in main memory, which is more close to hardware. Okay, it has frequently used operating system functions, and another part is called shell. Shell is communicating with user or applications, and shell is communicating with kernel. User cannot directly communicate with the kernel. Okay, that's what I have to explain with this diagram. We'll see how operating system evolved. Initially, uh, in PPL also we have seen the history of programming languages. There were only hardware. No operating system was required, as everything is done with the switches and console. So in the first operating system, it's serial processing. No operating system. Machines run from console with the display lights and toggle switches, input device and printer. There is a schedule book. So which job is scheduled at what time, only that person will enter, uh, do their work with the system and then leave, and then another person will come. So that is as per the schedule or serial manner. Setup included loading the computer, source program, saving the compiled program, and loading and linking. So everything has to be taken care by a programmer. Programmer has to load a source program, then has to load a compiler, then save compiled program and load and link. Are you familiar with these steps? What is loading, linking, compilation of a software program? I'll just explain you in brief. example of C file. So .c is called source code. Source code or source program, that is your C program. Now that you type with an editor, you need a compiler which will compile this code. What compiler will do? Compiler will convert .c file to .obj file. .obj file is called object file or intermediate code. Intermediate program or intermediate code. Then we need linkers and loaders. What linker will do? If in this C program, if you are using some mathematical operations from math.h or string operations from string.h, or if you have included any hash include, any library files, those library files are included in your intermediate code by linker. So job of linker is again a system program which will add library functions to your intermediate code. So now your intermediate file is ready with your source program as well as libraries from linker. And then this program is loaded into main memory for execution by a loader. What is the job of loader? Loader will load your executable program into main memory. So this file is converted to executable file exe, and loader will load this executable file to main memory for execution. And this file is executed in main memory by operating system. So this is the role of operating system. So here we have seen four types of system software. Compiler will convert your program into intermediate program. Linker will link libraries to your intermediate code. Loader will convert it to executable file and load it into main memory for execution. And the operating system will execute this executable file and produce output. Now, some of the compilers come up with all these three. Compiler is built up of linker, loader, and compiler. Or linker and loader can come as a package and compiler as a separate package. So you should know where is linker, where is loader, where is compiler, and what is the role of operating system in this case. So initially, as there were no operating system software, so everything has to be done by a programmer. Programmer has to load the compiler. Compiler is also software, so it need to be loaded into main memory first. Then source program. Source program is your .c file in this case. Saved compiled program and loading and delinking. We'll see types of operating system one by one. First one was simple batch system. So this is the example of system batch system, operating system and user program and data. And this box is main memory. Note that operating system is also software and need to be loaded in main memory. If you have mobiles with you, just go to your settings, go to the storage and check what is your internal storage. Some part of internal storage is always given to the operating system. If you have 8 GB RAM, some 1 or 2 GB RAM will be given to the operating system and rest 6 GB RAM is for user data. So similarly here for simple batch system, this is operating system is loaded into main memory and user program and data. There were the cards. Cards are punch cards. Cards, the program is not written and as a software, it is punched on the cards. If the card is punched means 1, or if it is not punched, that means 0. So data is in the form of zeros and ones. So there are the card readers which can read the cards and understand or interpret what is the program for. Then reduce setup time by batching similar jobs together. So there are different types of jobs like the simple batch system uses, it is a software that controls running program, batch jobs together, program branches back to the monitor when finished, and residence monitor in main memory and available for execution. Simple batch system, operating system in case of simple batch system is called monitors. So it adds, operating system is a software, so monitor is also software which controls running programs. batch jobs together, similar type of jobs, data jobs, function jobs, or control jobs. So similar type of jobs are batch together. So the name is batch system. Program branches back to the monitor when finished. So if one program is executing in main memory and another program is scheduled, so after execution of first program, control will go back to the monitor and monitor will schedule next program. So that is done by monitor or the operating system. Program branches back to the monitor when finished. Resident monitor, why it is called resident monitor? Because it stays in main memory and available for execution. How it executes? It has a card reader, reduce setup time by batching similar jobs. It automatically batches similar type of jobs. Automatic job sequencing, automatically transfer control from one job to another by this monitor. So resident monitor initial control is with the monitor operating. Whenever you start your system, when you restart your mobile, first you'll see operating system gets loaded. So even today, control is with monitor or with operating system. Then control transfer to the job. The operating system handles or initiates or decides which job will be scheduled first and will give control to that job. And if that job finished its execution, it will return control back to the monitor, and monitor will assign it to another job. When job completes, control transfer back to the monitor. That's it. It's simple batch system. When job completes, control transfer back to the monitor. That's it. It's simple batch system. It is like so we have job 1, job 2, job 3. Are you able to see this board? So monitor has first scheduled job 1. So control is transferred to job 1. Job 1 will execute and job 1 will return back to the monitor. Control will given to the monitor. Then monitor can schedule job 3. Job 3 will execute and control is written back to the monitor. This is how jobs can be executed. And the sequence is decided by the monitor. So problem with control cards. So there are two types of cards, data cards and control cards. Data is, as you know, it can be instruction or data, and control is whether to repeat this task number of times. Control is like if, for, we have seen those instructions, but before that there were the control cards, whether to stop, whether to halt, whether to break, whether to continue. These are the control tasks. What about the sequence of data? So problem with control cards is, how does monitor know about nature of job? So monitor has to create a batches of jobs. Similar types of jobs are clubbed together or sequenced together as a batch. So how does monitor know about this nature? Whether it is a Fortran or a programming language or .c files or executable files or media files like images or MP4, MP3 files. How monitor or operating system will know what is the nature of job and or which program to execute. So which are executable programs, which are source programs, how monitor will know this. And how can monitor distinguish between one job from other job, or whether it is a data or program. So those were the problems with control cards. So control cards were introduced with normal cards. So a solution is introduce control cards. Initially they were using only simple punch cards. Then they have added control cards to differentiate between job to job and type of to understand, to know what is nature of a job and to differentiate between data from a program. So what are the control cards? Control cards are special cards that tell monitor which program to run. So to start with, for example, $job means this is a job or simple data card. $FTN, in there where the Fortran language, currently we are using C++, Java, Python or C, but when this was simple batch system or first operating system, there were Fortran language. So to differentiate between programming language cards or data cards, function cards, so that was the special card which is called control card $FTN, which says that the cards below this card are Fortran programs or Fortran. We have to execute. To execute program, we have to use run card $run to say tell system that this is a data, so $data card, and $end means stop executing the code. So such type of control cards were introduced. This is the very important concept in operating system. Current operating system is also based on spooling. Now what is the spooling? Spooling is overlap of input output of one job with the computation of other job while executing one job in operating system. Note that operating system has to communicate with hardware as well as user. So user programs are executing fast because of microprocessor is executing those jobs, but hardware comparatively very slow. So to read or write data from memory or to communicate with the hardware devices is taking a time. In that time, when one job is performing input output, another job can execute in with the processor. So this is called overlapping of one job with other job. Read next job from a card reader into a storage area on the disk job queue. Output printout of previous job from disk to printer. This was also available when there were only batch system or only punch cards. This is called job pool, data structure that allows operating system to select which job to run next in order to increase CPU utilization. So in uniprocessor means only one uniprogramming, only one program will execute and then only another program is scheduled. It's called uniprocessor, a uniprogramming system. So processor must wait for IO instruction to complete before proceeding. So how program executes normally in uniprogramming? Program is executing, then program has to read data from hardware or from memory. So CPU is waiting. This is the time, or x-axis you can see the time at which CPU is working or utilizing. So this wait means CPU is waiting for the data. The system is reading data from memory, so CPU is not doing anything. CPU is idle in this at this time. Then when data is there, CPU can work on that data doing some processing. So this means CPU is executing. Again, you have to print output to the screen. So that is again IO. At that time, CPU is waiting. So this is, you can see how much time CPU is executing or running and how much time CPU is waiting in uniprogramming system. So to increase or to increase CPU utilization or make CPU work more work than wait, multi-programming is introduced. So with the help of spooling, when one job needs to wait for IO, the processor can switch to other job. So first program is executing, second program should wait. So program A is executing and B is waiting. When A is waiting for IO, accepting input output from the system, at that time operating system can schedule another job from a pool, program B, which can execute initialize variables or all those things, execute it. And when this is waiting for IO, program A, whenever it finished waiting, it can execute because CPU is free in this time. Execute it when it is waiting, program B can be scheduled. So you can see that two programs at a time can complete and a wait time of CPU is reduced and CPU utilization is increased. This is with two programs. Similarly, if you try to add more programs, it will increase CPU utilization. So this is how multi-programming works. This is with three programs. How multi-programming in batch system supports? So we have several jobs. Several jobs are kept in main memory at the same time, and the CPU is multiplexed among them. So operating system will ask to execute job 1. Now when job 1 is doing input output, operating system parallelly can schedule job 2. And when job 2 is performing IO, it can come back to job 1 or can schedule job 3, depending upon whether job 1 is free or job 3 is ready to execute. So several jobs are kept in main memory at the same time. Note that all these jobs must be in main memory, ready for execution. Whenever the program is loaded into main memory, then only it can execute, it is ready for execution. If it is in uh, hard disk or secondary storage, it cannot execute. So OS features needed for multi-programming. First is IO routine supplied by a system. Then memory management. The system must allocate memory to several jobs. Several jobs must be loaded in main memory. Then CPU scheduling. CPU, how OS should know when CPU is free and when it is busy, and it should able to schedule job 1, job 2, job 3, job 4 as per the availability of CPU. So operating system has to do this task, memory management, CPU management. The system must choose among several jobs ready to run and allocate allocation of devices, that is IO, memory, CPU, and device allocation. These are the jobs the operating system need for multi-programming. We'll stop here. In next lecture, we'll start with other type of operating systems, that is time sharing, etc. For attendance, I hope you have joined, all of you have joined the Moodle class. I can see only 65 participants here. Please join with Cummins ID. Those who have joined with Gmail, go back and join with Cummins ID only. Today I'm taking attendance with Moodle as well as manually. For the next session, I want everybody should be there in a Moodle class. Password is operating systems. Record your attendance with the Moodle.
Ma'am, the option is not coming for the attendance.
Yes, ma'am, it's not visible.
It is 10 a.m. to 10:15.
If we refresh it, it comes.
Refresh it.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I didn't get the mail for the new module.
I'm not getting it.
Ma'am, are we supposed to mark our attendance on the old module?
Old Moodle, no. Go to the OS, operating system.
No, ma'am, I didn't get the mail.
Okay, then you can log in. How? How you didn't got the mail?
Ma'am, I didn't get the mail for timetable also and today's link also.
Wait a minute. Can you write me a mail? I'll send you that.
Yes, ma'am.
Those who didn't have Moodle page yet can mark your attendance on this Google form. This will be also available till 10 minutes. No need to mark on both. That is, if you mark on Moodle, then no need to mark here.